Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 2 of the Evently Chat Show. With us today, we have a very exciting guest, Ruven Zambi from 180 Restaurants. We're excited to have him on the show because we're going to be touching on some interesting topics relevant to the catering and restaurant industry in Malta. With me on the show, as usual, is going to be my partner, Jonathan, who I'm going to get in the stream. And please welcome also Ruven. So, one second. Hi, guys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Good
How are
afternoon,
you?
Ben. Hi, Ruven.
Hi.
How's it going, guys?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yourself?
Doing great, thank you.
Well, I'm talking to you from mill-gżira ta' tliet għolijiet illum.
Gozo.
I'm at the Gozo outlet, yes.
Nice. It must be
Amazing.
even more quiet than usual, I guess.
It is.
How was did you get the ferry from Malta to Gozo, or were you already in Gozo?
No, I'm not based in Gozo. I live in Malta, but I cross to Gozo very frequently. When the restaurant's in operation, I cross almost on a daily basis.
Okay.
Of the fact that it's closed, I try and come at least 3 times a week, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. For example, this morning I was questioned. I think it was the first time I was questioned profoundly, so to speak. Why am I crossing over? And was the reason, you know, a restaurant. I'm a branded car, so it's easy. I have the permit, but your restaurant is closed. Yes, but you cannot abandon the restaurant. You need to close.
Yeah.
You need to check. There is equipment on here. You know, the staff are most of the staff are based in Gozo, so you need to keep in touch. You know, although the restaurant is closed.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I guess not everyone understands what really goes into running a restaurant. They think you can just close the door, shut it down, and that's it. It's done.
And you abandon it.
But it seems they let you through. So just telling them, you told them that you have to
Yeah,
go to the restaurant.
yeah.
Do you have any staff there at the moment? Maybe scan, or where are they all?
Yes, all our staff are still on board in
Wow.
both restaurants. We operate a restaurant in Melliha,
Mm-hmm.
180 Kitchen and Lounge, and 180 Kitchen at the Yacht Marina at Imja. All the staff are on board, still on board as we speak.
Nice. Congratulations.
And we did not want to lose any other members of staff. We try and keep positive, although the current scenario it's a bit sad. But looking forward, we know that we need our staff. You know,
Yeah.
we need. So once we are given the green light to kick off, we need staff. You know, they need to be there, and I'm really not looking forward to start from scratch like you're doing a new opening.
Yeah.
Correct. And we understand that it's not an easy task to retain all the staff or even a large percentage of the staff. So the fact that you managed to do that, congratulations, and says a lot about you and about your business that you're trying to run. And the training that goes into staff to start over, it's too much of a hassle. And when you have a good thing going and a good team going, that's really and truly what the business is. The business is not the restaurant, it's not the premises. While it's part of it, the staff are what really makes or breaks a restaurant.
Correct.
So, Ruven, can you tell us a bit about yourself as the managing director of these two restaurants, and tell us a bit about the two restaurants that you have in Malta and Goes on, maybe how they differ in any way, and maybe different clientele or different,
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the locality, and maybe cuisine, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a bit about myself. I think I'm one of those persons that live, dream, and breed restaurants or hospitality. I was always brought up in such an ambience from a young age, from a family-run restaurants. Um, I moved on to ITS for a hospitality management course. I also pursued to a BA Honors in Tourism Studies at the University of Malta.
Amazing.
I'm also trained overseas. in it was the one of the leading hotels in the world. I'm not briefed if it still is because this is in year 2000, 20 years ago. I trained in Gleneagles in Scotland for a whole year. And when I came back, I continued my studies and joined Island Hotels Group, the operator of Radisson Properties in Malta. And it was a long journey there, but in short, I made my way from a bartender to a food and beverage manager. To
Nice.
And that's the
So,
best way, right? Like understanding the business from the ground up. And
yes,
something I find really fascinating is people who start in the catering industry and who really understand how tough of a business it is, they still stick through it. So whether their parents run a hotel or run a restaurant, they kind of follow suit. And I know a lot of like that. And yeah, it always fascinated me because it's a tough business to run.
it is. There's a lot of commitment you need to put in place. But bil-Malti ngħidu tkun ġo fik.
tkun ġo fik, eżatt.
I don't imagine myself doing anything else apart from catering or even hospitality because I have a strong experience or track record in hotels and hospitality.
Yes,
Then, yeah.
that's quite an impressive CV that you got over there.
Then I moved to AX as well. I had the role of operations manager of 2 hotels, AX Hotels in Slima. But at the time, il-concept tal-180 kien qed itektek ġo rasi.
Okay.
You know, 180 is the result of a venture between myself and the other co-owner, Jasmine Vella, and it is what it is. We made it up today together. The Melli outlet was our first outlet, 180 Kitchen and Lounge. We launched that in 2016. 3 years after, we launched the Gozo outlet.
Okay.
180 Kitchen at the MJR Marina. Both concepts, because I think you asked me, Ben, both concepts from each other.
Okay.
We thought that it would not be as exciting simply to replicate the same concept of Melliha and Gozo, although it's a success. The concept works, but we wanted to do something else with the Gozo outlet because of the location. It's in a marina. The Gozo outlet is more of a Sicilian type concept, Sicilian Mediterranean and local. We love using a lot of the local produce, especially in Gozo, because it's more authentic. It's naraħ inqas sfruttat.
Okay.
Provaw nużaw, per eżempju, anka kellna frasna li we employ, for example, in our kitchen in Gozo, a housewife, for example, mara ta' you know, li ovvjament tkun ta' fis-sajjar in the kitchen, ma l-idea hija li mhux not to use this person for during service, you know, li in preparation.
Right.
Ħalli joħroġ dak il-prodott autentiku.
This is in Gozo as well as Melliha, or just Gozo for the time being?
This was for Gozo, but in Melliha, yes, we also use a lot of local produce. Għandna contracts u supplies ġejjin minn direct from farmers, for example. Nħobbu nużaw ħafna il-prodott lokali.
Tajjeb ħafna. Okay. And so thanks for that. And so who would you say would be your typical customer? And like you said, they're not like a carbon copy of each other. So who is your typical customer per restaurant?
As an average, before this COVID-19 scenario kicked in, I would have answered your question by 65% is the local market, 35% is the foreign or the tourism. It's very evident that this is going to change. When we reopen our doors, it will definitely change. For the simple reason that bħalissa tourism mawx, the airport is closed. Very few or no one is booking holidays at the moment. Because in general, around the world, everyone is hesitant to travel. No one is safe to travel. So obviously, when we relaunch the restaurants, I think our clientele is going to be 98 or if not 100% the local market.
Okay.
For us, we're still very much looking forward for that because it was a big chunk of our clientele anyway. Speaking about clientele, I would say our concepts appeal to what we call the middle to the up market bracket in the
Okay.
market.
And when you say, so the local and the foreign, and when you say, what split then would you say is like based on walk-ins, booking in from the telephone, tourists at hotels coming there, local events, I don't know, weddings, birthdays,
Yeah.
anniversaries, whatever. How would you split that between the personal events and corporate events and any other booking?
Something I forgot to mention is the expats as well. In the locations where we operate the restaurants, both in Melilla and in Gozo, there is a number of expats, which to me, I put them in the bracket of the locals, to be honest, because they're here all year round, are loyal to our restaurants. So it's like hosting a local person.
Okay.
With regards to your question, the bookings and business comes from a number of channels, Ben. We have seen a diversion from traditional telephone bookings to online bookings. For example, for our restaurants, we use Tablin. It is a restaurant reservation management system. This reservation system really does wonders for you. Really, we completely eliminated the traditional reservation book. It's all on the cloud. You can check your bookings from your phone. You can acknowledge the client. Really, a client checking our Facebook page, our Instagram, our website. It all channels the reservation through this system, and it does a lot of legwork for us because we can channel how many times a guest is our restaurants, any special requests, any allergies. Yeah, the different sources of business, as you mentioned, yeah, there's the DMC business, which is an important segment in our business. The DMC, destination management company, okay,
Yeah.
hosting groups, either who are working from overseas, hosting groups to Malta, who are working on incentive groups. There is the wedding segment. There is simply the socializing leisure segment. The normal tourism, who you have a client for a few days on the island and simply roaming around the restaurants. You have parties, you have events, you have birthday parties. It's very vast. It's very vast. You have business entertainment.
Yeah.
That's good that your service offering basically caters for anyone interested in a good experience and good food, right? So anyone who can come there. So it might not be the cheapest of restaurants because you're in the middle to upper tier, but when it comes to the food experience, it's all about the value for money and not just the price that you pay, because that's the way we look at it ourselves, right? Enjoying good food and a good ambience with good service, that really brings joy to my heart.
We actually had the question here just now from Don Zamit, Reuven, who is I can actually put it on the screen here, who's asking, just wondering, are you the managers of the restaurant? Dom, Reuven is one of the managing directors. We are not, of course. We're just, John and I are part of Evently. Reuven is the managing director. I don't know if you'd like to say any words about it.
Although we are the managing directors, we are very hands-on. Both myself and Jasmine are hands-on.
Hmm.
outlets. So there are managers, of course, in the outlets. In both outlets, there is a brigade actually: restaurant manager, assistant restaurant manager, supervisors, sommeliers, bartenders. Then in the kitchen, you have the chefs, the head chef, the sous chef. But we're very hands-on because obviously I would not see it another way, to be honest.
Okay.
Ma tistax jilhom ċen outlet u titilqu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of restaurants,
Exactly.
a lot of the successful restaurants really work hand in hand with how much time and effort the restaurant owner actually puts into it. And some restaurants, for instance, that are run by chefs, the first ones that are done, that's the hard part between um, transitioning between being just a chef to being a chef and the restaurant owner, because although the passion is there, it doesn't always translate to being a good business. But with experience and with the passion, of
Yeah.
course, there's always improvement.
Chef patron ngħidulu aħna.
Chef patron.
Il-chef owner.
Yeah.
In those restaurants, the expectations fuq l-ikel jiżdied. Because the owner is the chef, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some more questions coming in, which we will get to later. So, Reuven, another question is, many people are actually asking us this as well, is like, what is the general perception of the catering in the local scene? And local, in your case, Malta and Gozo, if you can make that split. What is the current perception or general perception?
I think that question, if you had to pose it out there, fl-arja, it creates a lot of debate. Il-perception tal-catering industry, at least, foresee mean at jara seeing it from the outside, or perhaps doesn't understand how it works, is that the sales are profits, which is not. There is a very long, exhaustive list of overheads to
Yeah.
run a restaurant. Forsi din is-session is-servi for the purpose for anyone who thinks that, for example, if you pay whatever X amount for an item in a restaurant, so if it is food, beverage, wine, whatever it is, you're not just paying for the item per se. You're paying for the whole experience, as
Of
Jonathan
course.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And there is a whole list of factors that make up the experience, and all these factors make money, mean money.
Yeah. Costs.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the sommeliers, for instance, there's a big difference between having a sommelier and having a waiter just pouring wine, right? And it's not just in the but even in the selection of the wines and the decisions that are made prior to having a menu. All of these things come into what a restaurant is.
As we speak, for example, kombinazzjoni ta' qudiemi għandi il-wine list tara ta' għawdex. Well, we touch up the wine list like twice a year, obviously to see you review. Ikun hemm wines illi they are slow movers, and wines illi deħlin ġodda fis-suq. So you review the wines, and we're very careful on what are the tal-marketing tagħna u qed nikkoreġi xi affarijiet fuqha. Well, if you're active, you have to be active, and you have to be on top of the game.
But if I may ask, so the general perception, I agree that many people, and what we've heard was like, people said like the split for restaurants is like 33%, 33%, 33% recurring of each one, which would be salaries, costs, and the rest. The general perception we have heard was that it was profit. But from speaking to people within the industry and even doing research, it's not the case. That many restaurants, at least in Malta, are operating within or up to the 10% profit mark, sometimes or many times below that. So can you maybe explain where that 33.3% recurring came and why it's not the case? Is it because of
In
inflation?
short,
Is it because of Malta has become more expensive?
in short, the answer is no. The margins mhumiex hekk. Nixtiequ kieku. Ma nafx if one has never seen a P&L account of a restaurant, jew jekk hija xi ħadd jara P&L ta' restaurant,
Mhm.
da jifhem aħjar għaliex l-affarijiet mhumiex hekk. Pereżempju qudiemi għandi templates tal-P&L tagħna stess, pereżempju. Mela vorri inti għandek is-sales sewwa,
Mhm.
18% goes to VAT immediately. Mela jekk għandek sale inti 18% dak mhumiex tiegħek barra.
Sure.
35% huwa cost of sales ngħidulu aħna. The cost for the restaurant biex jixtri il-commodities, il-food and drink.
Mhm. Mhm.
35 to 40%, it depends on the time of the year on your sales as well, is labor cost, pagi.
How much is that percent?
35%.
35.
Average, okay? At least, so ovvjament din tvarja minn kull post tal-ieħor. Iktar ma jkollok high wages, iktar ma jkollok brigade kbira, iktar titħallas.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
But għandek id-direct costs, gas, fuel, consumables, disposables, cleaning materials, laundry, uniforms, fil-restauranti tagħna nipprovdu għamana uniforms, replacements bil-Malti what kissir.
Mhm.
Tazzi, crockery, telf, cutlery intilef, entertainment, if you have any entertainment. U bat tidħol f'administration costs, per eżempju salarju ta' PA, someone stationed in the office.
Yeah, yeah.
Salarju ta' finance person, salarju ta' technician, il-maintenance huwa ongoing, il-ħin kollu. Il-maintenance.
Yeah.
Il-marketing, advertising costs, utilities, water, electricity, insurance, travel expenses, company car, trading license and permits biex topera, telecommunications,
Endless.
stationery, computer software licenses, subscriptions and donations, swill huwa l-waste, which by the way we pay private for our waste, where we separate our waste into glass, kartun għalih, plastic għalih, u l-general waste għalih.
Congratulations. Well
I'm
done.
sure it's not cheap to do that.
No.
Yes, but it's the right way of doing it. So, like if Alban process for doing it, we heard some stories that not everyone abides by those practices.
Anka l-istaff, Jonathan, for example, da jek inti għandek glass bin, per eżempju, fil-bar. Il-glass bin, il-ġiex qed imur ġo dal-bin, u bat ħatarmieħ fl-iskib ta' glass.
Check.
Anka l-istaff, il-sistemi qegħdin aħjar. There's more guys, repairs and maintenance, whether it is health and safety li huwa importanti ħafna. Ħasib, it's a critical control point in the kitchen.
So it's clear that the costs are huge. So
And Nectar, guys, the list goes on
Yes,
and
yes.
on and on.
Mistoqsija nista' nagħmel dwar cost li hija interessanti għal min qed jarana hija. Sorry, switch to Maltese. An interesting question about purchasing when it comes to produce and the stuff is the fluctuation in pricing. So your menu is set, right? Your menu is set. So a steak costs X amount, but the amount you purchase it week after week or month after month, that can fluctuate as well. So that is something that you need to come up when you do the pricing and as you go along in the business, right?
That is a very important observation you just did, Jonathan. Almost on a daily, on a weekly basis, we receive notifications, emails that the price of this commodity has increased. This has increased. This has increased. Ma tantx jirċievu notifications li raħas xi ħaġa. Ħalli biex dak li qed jarawna jifhmu aħjar. Mela jekk jiena nillonċa din il-wine list. U naf kif nillonċja, nirċivi email isma' dak it-tali jinbit ola. Okay? Sa noqgħod nagħmel, noqgħod narġa' nikkostja l-wine list u narġa' nipprintja u noqgħod dak. The price is set now,
Yes.
Yeah.
I will keep a note li meta narġaw nillonċjaw il-wine list oħra u mbagħad nagħmel the necessary fluctuation. naħseb going back to the original question, general perception hija ġens li
Let's try to stick to English, please. I know
everyone everyone wants the best of the best, but not everyone wants to pay for the best. And looking at a restaurant operation, how we used to operate 10, 20 years ago, and now it is more challenging. It's more challenging. The costs jolew at a faster pace than our selling prices.
it's more challenging for a lot of reasons. So one is the level of quality has increased. I mean, no one can deny it. We can even complain, but the level has increased, and for the level to increase, you need to pay more. It's just whether it's you from a business or us as a customers to purchase. And also, restaurant business is very tough because of reviews, right? So reviews can make or break a restaurant, and I wholeheartedly believe in reviews. When I don't have anything to base on whether I go to a restaurant, the advert I hear just informs me, but then I look at reviews. But reviews can be a bit dangerous as well, because there are a lot of keyboard warriors who, with one bad experience, they just go and write a bad review and want to shame the restaurant. And this is something that I dislike in general, because most of the times, if you discuss it with a restaurant manager and so on, anything that you don't like can be easily squashed, or there will be an understanding. So there's no need for us to go give horrible reviews just on one bad experience. But reviews, on the other hand, are still important. I still believe in them.
Yes, when you put everything in the picture, seeing it holistically, it's very important. Yes, and I do not see it in any other way. The destructive comments hurt a business. So it could be any business, not only food and drink. You know,
Yes.
it could be a business selling textile or clothing or selling cars, for example. So yeah, destructive reviews are. Yeah, I think we've learned to live in this era. You know, the most important thing is that we learn from them if there's anything to learn, because sometimes destructive reviews are not always genuine.
Correct.
If there's anything to learn from them, let's bow our heads and learn from, you know. But I mean, yeah. But
Okay. So going to our next questions here. So what we already touched on it a bit, but maybe we can spend more time on it. What impact has COVID-19 had on restaurants and employees in the catering industry? We've heard of many people being laid off. I know you mentioned, Reuven, that you have kept your entire team. Tell us a bit more about the situation.
the situation, without beating around the bush, it's sad. It's a sad situation. You know, just it's even emotional, to be honest, because seeing your restaurants switched off, closed down, when at this time of the year, for example, they should be pumping, you know, they should be alive and kicking. The restaurant there, I miss the action, I miss the ambiance. You miss that, how can I say, the
Yeah.
upbeat ambiance. The impact is simple. Oh, I mean, we're closed down. We're operating at 0% revenue and 100% expenses. That is the reality. How long can we resist, or how can we absorb this? Not for long. Not for long. I mean, as we mentioned earlier in the session, the business entails a lot of expenses and overheads to operate. So there is a limit how much a business can stay afloat.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the employees, I can assure you that the employees are bored to the extent. I mean, where is it goes on every day? Boss, can I go and do something? You know, can we do something? Enough. Naqalaw xi store x'imkien. The employees how can I say, looking forward to reopen restaurants as much as we are, to be honest.
Hmm.
You we've had enough watching movies at home. We've had enough relaxation time. We want to get back in action, you know. So the employees, yeah, it's what it is basically, and unfortunately, it's across, and it's not only food. I think it's across the country and the world.
And in regards to employees in the catering industry, like we know just by observation that over the last, let's say, 5 years, there have been an increase in foreigners like Eastern Europeans, not to single them out, and third world nationals coming for these kind of jobs. And now with a 20% unemployment rate in Malta as it currently stands, I think there will be a bit of change in that. So, do you expect it to affect it in any way, positive, negative, or what are your thoughts?
The fact that the industry is attracting the majority of candidates are foreign employees and even non-EU, as you stated. Obviously, we're operating in Malta, you know. So when someone from the local scene comes along, obviously we will see the person just like we see a person from Italy, a person from Ukraine, a person from France, and anywhere, you know. The way I'm seeing it is that this COVID-19 scenario is going to help, I think, to attract back some Maltese to the industry.
Yeah.
In fact, I say this with proof because a few days ago we launched some adverts for our restaurants. You might tell me, Isma, you're crazy, you're closing, you're recruiting employees. And I have an answer to that. Before we closed the doors, we were just about to start beefing up the teams again for the busy season. You know, so we're simply getting ready for the upcoming season, and we launched some adverts, and we haven't seen that response for a while. Yes, we were seeing Maltese people again applying for the jobs, and I can assure you that the response was extraordinary. Well, there are people out there who are desperate for
For
jobs.
work. Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yes.
We received hundreds of applications.
Wow.
And in regards to this, I didn't want to imply that restaurant owners prefer certain nationalities to others, but it's merely based on the choice of applicants, right? That
Supply
is
and
what.
demand.
Yes, it's a supply and demand. It's
Up to a few weeks ago, before we close doors, it's no secret. We issue a vacancy, and we will not have one
Yeah.
applicant, one Maltese applicant. Well, that is the scenario.
No, of course, and that is what I meant. Our team is 50% foreigners, and we never had like quotas that we should have X amount of females, or X amount of males, X amount locals to foreigners. It's pretty much who's best for the job from the applicants that we get, and we have no reservations hiring anyone that's fit for the job.
Let me be frank. The success of our brand of 180, a good percentage, I'm not going to mention a percentage, but a very good percentage of the success of the brand is thanks to our foreign employees. Well, really, we were never at a time where we were employing more Maltese nationals than foreign. The majority was always foreign nationals, and we have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yes.
The performance is there, the consistency in there, and I will say it already. كيف inħoss that I am Maltese myself,
Mhm.
Sometimes foreign nationals are more disciplined than the Maltese. Even with consistency, if there is a standard, there's a tendency that it's more respected, or a policy. Then it's a bit to do with cultures as well.
Yeah.
It's our culture. So we have no problem whatsoever in employing foreign nationals as well. For example, the restaurant manager of our Gozo outlet is a foreign national. The assistant restaurant manager in Meliha is a foreign national. Our head bartender in Meliha is a foreign national. The sous chef in Gozo is a foreign national. So, no,
Yes,
And
I
that
have
that
been.
comes to my next point. Actually, it's like, and it ties into what you were saying about the 100% costs and zero revenue. So when in terms of the support, we're going to be talking about the support aid relief from the government. How much of a help is this, and how much does it cover your all your employees, local and foreign, maybe the full timers and the part timers? How are there any restrictions to the help, if you received any help, first of all, from the government on these for these employees?
yes, we did receive help, actually very, very recent. And yes, the answer is yes, it is of great help. Uh,
Okay.
and the help we received is split in three. The first help we got was a deferral of the VAT amount due. This was announced, I remember, in the very beginning,
Hmm.
when we had closed down.
Yeah.
The second help was the deferral of the FSS, we call it, of the tax that we pay on behalf of the employees.
Hmm.
And the central government told all business, not only us, all the business, listen, keep it for now. It will be paid later, so there is more liquidity in the company. Okay,
Hmm.
and the other help is the grant of the €800 grant.
Okay.
All our full-time employees. Most of our employees, I would say 95% are full-time. We only have a small percentage of part-time employees. We do this for the simple reason for consistency and standards, because you can base your standards more on, obviously, on employees who are here most of the time. So yeah, that is the help we got.
Okay. Cool. I thanks for that, Ruben. I am mindful of the time here. We're over 40 minutes already, so I would like to have time to go through all the questions, and even the questions that the guests, sorry, the people watching us have. So the big juicy question that we have, and everybody has, I think, is, when do you foresee that restaurants might be opening up again, albeit differently, albeit with restrictions between space, between, I don't know if it's open air or not. What are your thoughts here?
We don't know when we are going to reopen. We are hearing rumors, of course. Only today I heard a rumor that we might be open in 3 weeks' time, in mid-May. But it's a rumor. I mean, I have no official,
Official.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
communication. Obviously, the earlier we open, the better. But I would not like that we open and then
Close again.
we close again. And there's another thing. It's not a matter of reopening. There needs to be the demand as well.
Sure.
Because
Right.
we closed the restaurants in middle of March, but the first 2 weeks of March, the demand had already dropped. So
Right.
it's not a matter of opening. There needs to be the demand as well. We will operate differently. Yes, there is more awareness. There is more awareness also about health and hygiene in general. Um, the fact that we are hearing also that there will be restrictions on the capacity of the restaurants. So if we
In
have,
terms of spacing between people, though,
yeah,
or in terms
yeah.
of, okay.
What we're hearing
Okay.
for now is that there will be a fixed space between a table and another. Again, we don't have this officially in writing, but those are the rumors, and those are what we are seeing also happening internationally. Um,
Yes.
Yeah,
And
There's
this is for
also
the
something that
benefits.
comes to my mind, which I've noticed a lot, which I never liked. I'm gonna be honest. So this is something personal for me. But when eating out, you never know, and there are restaurants and there are restaurants, okay? But you never know. Let's say you're going to touch the salt and the pepper. You're going to touch the ketchup. All this is going to change. I don't think it's going to be allowed to have the the shared salt and pepper because okay, let's say you had a family eating now what certain so let's say the restaurant does clean the salt and pepper after that family but perception is everything right so if me as a guest I don't feel comfortable that that restaurant maybe did not clean that salt and pepper it's going to push me away from going out to the restaurant,
Yeah,
right? So maybe these things will change even in terms of how salt, the basic stuff like salt and pepper and olive oil and all this are
that's
yeah,
a
used.
very good point.
yeah. That's only one example.
Just
That
one example, yeah.
even going to the bathroom for
Exactly. I was going to say, going to the bathroom. There have, if you notice, there have been changes. Like, although there are some restaurants, I don't understand how they do it. They still use that towel, that everyone uses, which I think is disgusting. Most people have switched to the
Paper
paper
towels.
towels, to the
the
vents.
contactless, even the where you put your hand in,
But look
Yes.
at the cost, right? If you have to change to salt and pepper, which is disposable each time, if it's in package, that's another cost on the restaurants. If you're looking at olive oil, what are you going to have sachets of olive oil? You know what I mean? Which
But
might
there,
mean no, you use the bottles and then people will have sanitizing towels, but that's another cost.
no, it's a very good point, Ben, and I completely agree that it will change the modus operandi. But it can even be like a simple case of when you're clearing the table for the next table, everything needs to be wiped out with disinfectants. And for
Yeah,
instance, you leave a card like where you have the table number, you have something like this table has been sanitized
yeah,
with X and Y, for instance.
yeah.
One that's going to be a new thing that people will look for, and it's also kind of a marketing cost
Exactly,
as
I
well,
was gonna say.
because then when I see that or someone shares a photo, then I want to go to that restaurant.
Yeah,
Now that is a factor, so it's a very good
yeah. Eventually, at the end of the line, I think from all this this scenario, I think at the end of the line, we will positives will come out because I don't think that we will revert to our old way of doing things. We will change in general. Things will
yes.
change.
okay. Okay, so we are going down to the last few questions here. I wanted to touch a bit on what you had said before about destructive comments. We touched briefly on perception, but then you were going to discuss something about destructive comments through reviews. But I don't know if you wanted to mention anything in this regard, um, Ruben.
About the destructive comments, I mean, yeah, we mentioned on the reviews. What like hits me in is that, for example, when we close down the restaurants, some restaurateurs, including myself, we had sounded our voice for support, for help. Okay, and some restaurants, sorry, some people say, "Oh, what's this?" I mean, you've been busy, you've been doing this, you've been doing that. You know, a businessman or any business, when you are doing well, a businessman invests in another business. Okay, there is no well. Okay, Mela, we will pay the wages of our employees from this well of money, virtual well. It is not the case. It is not the case. And what hurts me most is that I notice that some of these people go online, like for example, on a platform like Raps, for example, who make a destructive comment about, for example, very recently, I seen someone doing a destructive comment about a supermarket because the price tag on the shelf is X and the actual price is X plus 50 more cents. Okay, and we're posting about it on social media. But this same person, for example, is telling us restaurateurs, okay, why don't you pay the employees from the money you have made in the past, blah, 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 blah. You're boasting about 50 cents, my friend, you know? I mean, you're making a scene, a destructive comment for a supermarket about overcharging you 50 cents. Do you know what is the equivalent labor wages of 3 months or 4 months of a restaurant? What it is, you know? It's close to €250,000. You know, it's not 50 cents, you know, of the supermarket. So the same person, but 50 cents, much all right, but paying the wages, you know. Ultimately, one needs to understand how an operation works, and not only a restaurant, Ben or Jonathan, not only any business. You know, if I don't understand how a car garage works or a mechanic works, I don't go on social media
You
and
cannot
boast.
you cannot judge. I mean, you cannot judge without having the full facts
You
about
need to
anything,
know
because then you're
the
just being
full
ignorant.
thing, you know.
And when there are issues, just have a discussion with your service provider, whether it's restaurant and otherwise. That is what we always
Correct.
advise.
Correct.
And it's one of the reasons why we're having these shows. We want you guys to have a voice. This is not an advert by any means, but this is to help a better understanding of how business works, right? And we are hoping that it will improve how we treat each other and how much we know about different businesses to go on with our lives.
And
Yeah.
also,
Correct.
something to mention about this, because I know what you're saying, Ruben, and I see this quite a lot. And let's be honest, and I am not trying to say in favor or against, but if there is a price tag that is very visible to you as a customer, it is your decision to purchase that product or service or not. Everyone has the internet nowadays. Everyone is informed. You can very quickly do a search between two products or three suppliers or four to determine if this is worth your money or not. If it's not worth your money, if you feel it's not, don't go for it. It's that simple. No one is
Correct.
forcing you, grabbing you by the throat to do
Yeah.
it, right? So,
Correct.
and so it's totally up to you to be wise. Yes, there are people. Let's be honest. There are people who are they try to cheat the system a bit, too much with prices. But these people, let's be honest, these people usually they quickly run out of business. No one is
Yeah.
stupid, especially when it comes to money. So let people, if the supermarket is charging this price, let them charge that price. Don't choose to buy it. But going to
Yeah.
social media complaining about it, I don't see the value in that. Like, what
In the
value?
world, in the world we live today, Ben, things have changed. We're not in the 1980s anymore. Things have changed. All menus are online.
Mushak.
You can check out the prices of any shop, whatever it is, even if it's a toy shop,
Mushak.
before you even go to the shop. And if you don't, like it or afford it, you can always simply opt not to opt out.
There's so much option. There are so many options, and we're seeing a boom of products and services. So we're not, we're spoiled for choice. So just do your calculations, do your research wisely, and
Yeah.
choose what is best for you. Okay, so Ruven, we have we are over time, but we have some more time from the bandwidth. What are the positives to come out of this situation, would you say?
I think more hygiene awareness in general, not only at work, in our general daily lifestyle.
Right.
Oh, because let's hands on heart. We've all become more aware, even driving in the car. You know, even for example, when I get home, before I make contact with my kids,
Yeah.
I go wash my hands. I don't wash that. I wipe my phone with a disinfectant. It's all that we do not take everything for granted. I think
Yeah.
there is a bit of that mentality, and I think in general, maybe this is a bit far-fetched, but appreciate life. You know, I think it would have never crossed our mind that in the world we live today, something like this will happen. You
For
know,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Perhaps before all this happened,
Mm-hmm.
was a bit of nagging and complaining about the nitty and gritty about everything. So after this, I think we all should appreciate life. perhaps take it more easy, live and let live, or not
Yes,
thinking about every little thing, you know.
it's words of wisdom,
Right.
Ruben.
Thank you for that, Ruven. Last question from our end, and then we'll switch to some questions from the guests. What are you looking forward to the most, on maybe on a personal level, and even for 180 restaurants?
Reopening the restaurants, I think.
Yeah.
Reopening the restaurants, having the team back in action, and I miss the communication with the clients as well, all the correspondence, and you start missing basic things. Yeah, like for example. Requests by clients by email or the phone ringing, or you start missing these basic things. Um, yeah, basically getting back in action is the main thing.
Fair enough. Okay, so we have some questions here, where some comments, and so here we have Rosie who said, "Hi, Rovan, great to see you here." So we have Simon Bohadja here. I don't know if the entire comment will fit, to be honest, because it's quite a long one. So he's saying, no, it's not. So I have to read it. So thanks for opening up and sharing such interesting insights. How do you view the takeaway delivery segment of your business? And is it hard to compete without being able to provide the experience you would be able to provide within the premise? Thanks.
Okay, it's a very good question, Ben. Um, I think this varies. This varies according to the business model. For example, our restaurants per se, we are geared up and we are set to offer takeaway and pickups. However, some of our food is best enjoyed in the restaurant, not, for example, in neither of our restaurants, we don't do pizzas, for example.
Okay.
There is the perception of takeaways are mainly pizzas, burgers, so to say, a bit more of a fast food type. We are doing, for example, in one of our restaurants in Gozo, we are doing the takeaway and the pickup service, for
Mm-hmm.
example. I'll be very honest, we are doing it to keep a bit alive, to switch on the kitchen, to keep the staff, our chef, a bit in action, but it is far, far, far from the usual operation.
Right.
But as I said, it doesn't mean because it's like that for us, it's like that for everyone. There are models out there who are more geared up to the takeaway and delivery segment rather than the actual seated in the restaurant experience.
Mm-hmm.
This varies between one model and another. It's not the same for everyone.
Okay, thank you for that. We have another long question, so again, it won't fit here, but it's a comment more than a question from Simon Psaila, who said, "Well done to Ruven and Jesmond, top people in restoration and hospitality." I guess he means restaurants. Was a pleasure working with you in the past. I'm sure that with your experience, you will see the situation through. Wish you all the success and best of luck.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you. Yes. So when you see these type of comments, you really appreciate, and it gives us a lot of job satisfaction.
Sure.
Because ultimately, yes, it's a business. It's no secret. Anyone who sets up a business is there for business. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
satisfaction that the job gives us is sometimes beyond that.
Yeah.
We enjoy ourselves seeing other people enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And even the industry is at peak when other people are enjoying themselves. For example, the Christmas period. The Christmas period for us,
Yes.
it's added stress. It's stressful. Let's face
Yes.
it. But when you see other people enjoying themselves, and when you're seeing people being entertained in your restaurants, the level of satisfaction, I don't know how to put it in words. It's very satisfactory.
Cool. Okay, so that's it from our end. Ruven, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any final remarks. I just have one thing to say, and then I'll pass on to you. That we are, as a company, we have Get Hitch and we have Evently, and we are we've been since before, like a week before COVID hit. We actually started working on our third platform. I think this is the first time we're publicly saying it, which is going to be specifically for the restaurant industry, which I know that we already spoke to you about this, Rovan, for restaurant bookings. But we hope that it will help the catering industry bounce back. We are for the first people, we have close to 200 restaurants on board already, and we have given free the first free bookings for free, to most of these, to all of them, basically. So we look from Get Hitch and Evently. 65% of our suppliers, such as yourselves, are in the catering industry. So it is hugely important for Malta, um, for so much, for so many areas, for people's jobs, for the economy, for GDP, for tourism. It's huge. So we really need to safeguard the catering industry in Malta, and we need to one chain to help it. And I hope that with our platform Bookya, we will add some value there.
Yeah, in fact, we've signed up our Melly outlet already to that.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, yeah, the
So
catering is the entertainment industry, so there's nothing much better than unwinding and relaxing and enjoying yourself at the end of the
Yes,
day.
well put. It's not usually mentioned that way, but it really is the entertainment industry, especially for those who don't go to Portugal and the usual entertainment stuff. This is our entertainment.
Yeah,
From my end, I want to thank you for your time, Ruven. It was fantastic content. I enjoyed hearing you, and I appreciate what you are doing with your business, and I hope that you bounce back better than ever after all this is through.
thank you. There is much more to talk about, but
It's
trying to
amazing
put.
how fast it flies,
can you
right?
believe that 1 hour passed through? And I mean,
I
every
didn't see 1 hour passing,
it's
but
incredible.
there's much more, and I had points here which I didn't even mention. So,
Yeah, I mean, feel free to add any closing
Yeah, sum
remarks
it
that
up
you have.
and feel free.
Please do. I mean, feel free to do so.
all right, let me put this then, since you're giving me the opportunity. A waiter in a restaurant is not a waiter, the traditional waiter we know from like 30, 40 years ago, where you just serve a drink or a plate. A waiter today requires skill, okay, and
Hmm.
you have to be courteous, you have to be well mannered,
Yeah.
you need to know the communication skills, the body language, you need to know about wines, you need to know about from where the wines are coming from, you need to know about the 101 allergens there is out there. Okay, some guests are gluten intolerant, some guests are lactose intolerant, allergies to shellfish, allergies to nuts, allergies to garlic. So a waiter is not just simply delivering food and drink to a table or taking an order. It requires skill. I'm saying this so one can appreciate the skill of a service person.
Even being multilingual, many
And
of them are multilingual
multilingual,
as well.
and it is an instant industry. When you walk in a restaurant, you want to eat and you want to drink. You know,
Hmm.
but I call, I don't know, El Bayat, for example. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, I will do the work in a month's time. Our industry is instant. You know, when you have guests in an outlet, they need to be served. And there are moments when that service person is under pressure.
Yeah.
Trying to do 20 things at the same time. So it's
Yes.
a matter of appreciation at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay.
think sometimes that happens is because in reality it is one of the easiest job in general, I'm speaking, that you can get. Like it's the first job that anyone can get. Usually it's a waiter. But that's just the first step, and not all restaurant waiters are equal, right? And that has a lot to
Yeah,
do with the training. And as I mentioned multiple times, it will be the end result of your experience. It's not just the food on the table, but even the communication that you have, even just before you
correct,
sit down. Sometimes that makes a difference of how you feel and how the rest of the evening goes. So the fact that you
correct,
train your staff that way, whether it's you or any other restaurateur out there, that is super, super important.
correct.
Okay, thank you guys for the show. It was great content. I'm sure it's going to be useful to many people, especially in the catering industry. So I thank you, Ruven. I thank you, John. I am going
Thank
to
you.
wave goodbye and remove you from
Thank
the
you.
stream so we can bring it to an end. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
Okay, so there you have it, episode 2 of the Eventually Chat Show, live chat show. Very interesting discussion with Ruven from 180 Restaurants. We spoke a lot about the impact that COVID has had on the restaurant industry, devastating, as many people know. We look back, we look forward to bouncing back, albeit with restrictions definitely that there will be in place because of hygiene. Social distancing and all this, but things look positive, at least in Malta, where the recovery cases are increasing, and the cases are going down. So as we mentioned, the catering industry is hugely important for Malta from various aspects. So we do look back, hopefully look at this bouncing back. Thank you so much, Ruven, and to John. We'll see you tomorrow for episode 3 of Evently, and we'll have episode for the day after that, even on the public holiday. Thanks for the time. If you like what you're seeing, please like and share it. Share it with anyone who you think this will be of value to. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.